All right, you guys, just like the previous video stated, this video is going to give you the basic information of when I noticed that I was classified as what they state a targeted individual. The purpose of telling my story is so that my story can encourage you guys to be motivated, that you can make it through, and to help bring out some realization that this stuff is happening, because a lot of people are stating that it's not realistic, that it's mental, that it's only spiritual. But there's some things that I have encountered before I had that spiritual awakening. So here we go. So back in 2000, between 2013 and 15 is when I first realized things were not as it seemed. At this time, the entities that I would classify myself as going against that could have placed me into this program was one was my apartment complex I was living in. I had to take them to court because they falsely accused me of owing rent and owing property damage to an apartment that I was not even in. I don't know if that's part of targeting or that what got me in targeted. So I took him to court and proved that that wasn't me who lived at this place and won that case. On top of that, I had a son who has a disability who was going through unfair treatment within the school district. And so these are different time frames, but are between, like I said, 2012 and 2015. So I had to file a complaint against the school because they was not implementing the right procedures to help a child with a disability. And at this time, I didn't know all of the qualifications that a kid with a disability or anybody that's a student will receive, like a 504 or IEP. And among trying to seek help for my son in school, I was denied access to these services. They told me they didn't have any services to help kids with disability. They told me I just need parenting class, that he don't have a disability, he just has a behavior problem. When I had doctor statements stating that he did have a disability, and also he was undergoing seeing a psychologist at that time as well. Okay, so upon giving this information, I passed it on to someone who worked in the educational industry, and they said that's falsified. They do have programs for people with disabilities to help them, to help kids through school or anybody through school. So after finding out that they denied my access to services, that was a disservice to a child with a disability. That's how a big Wow, a big complaint went against that whole school district to the point of a lawsuit. Okay, so I don't know if that one got me targeted. On top of that, I was working for a major hospital where I was experiencing age discrimination against different coworkers and also some type of racial bias. The complaint was led when I had to leave the workplace because the stress was so severe. I had to go on unemployment for stress leave, because there was people saying you're not going to take my job, how you just can come here, like verbally coming up to me and bullying me, saying you're not going to take my job, she thinks she can come here and take my job. Mind you, I'm new, I'm underage at this time, I'm in my 20s. And I'm like, okay, I don't know, I'm thinking they're playing. No, then they kept harassing me to the point where, which I know now is called workplace mobbing, but at that time I still didn't know if I was targeted at that time. So I don't know if the workplace mobbing was just due to, like I said, age bias, racial bias, or was it because I was a target. People would come up to me and say she thinks she's Caucasian, she don't want to hang with the black people. It was just a whole bunch of angles of discrimination. Okay, so the day I found out that I was a target, I come home. At this time, y'all, I didn't know I was a target. I come home to a kicked in door. My door was kicked in. That looks like maybe a partition was kicked into my home, or somebody with a black boot, because it had a black scuff mark on my door. Kicked in so hard that the whole hinges was off. Mind you, don't have no enemies. Mind you, wasn't involved in anything but those few incidents that were years apart, not within the same year. Doors kicked in. Nothing is stolen but some tea bags and some jewelry holder. It's around the holidays. My kids' unwrapped gifts was in my bedroom on my bed. At that time, that's when Nintendo Wii came out. I had a camcorder for my son. He liked to take pictures. Like those, it was a Nico camera, I believe that's how you pronounce it. None of this high end stuff was taken. Okay. Just the tea bags, like I said, and tea bags was something that I use every morning and night. I will make me some tea, and I will make my son some warm tea to soothe him. Like I said, he had a disability. Okay. So after discovering that, I made a report to my apartment complex. And this is before I had the court appearances with this same apartment complex. Um, and I told him, my door's been kicked in. I need someone to replace the lock. And this is around 4 or 5 p.m. that I noticed that. They said there was nothing they can do. I had to sleep in the home with a busted door. I pushed furniture in front of the door because, of course, I feared for my safety because I didn't know what was going on. And then to find out nothing's been taken, that's kind of awkward. I told family members about it, and everybody was like, wow, that's awkward. Just pay attention to your surroundings. It must have been an accident, wrong home, or whatever. Long story short. So that's when I moved after. That's what led to me moving, why I had to take them to court, because after I moved, they sent me exit letter stating I owed them money. So that's what led to their court appearance. Okay. I'm still here because I can't just move right away. Just being aware of my surroundings. My neighbor that's been there before I moved, all of a sudden she moves. On top of that, neighbors next door, they moved. Um, all of a sudden, these younger couple moves in, and that's when I noticed the strange activity. Like they act like they did not like me for some other reason. It was very mean towards me. For I say hi, they look at me like I'm crazy, or they would just stare at me as I come in and out. They was always outside, sitting on their porch or doing whatever they do. Within their environment. So that's what led me to really feel unsafe. And there was a younger crew, and yes, they was African American. So it's sad to say there was some females, and in my community, sometimes females that are African American versus me, African American woman, the looks and the uncomfortable appearances, meaning feeling like you feel threatened or like that, it happens. That's like a normal thing. So once again, I still didn't know I was targeted because I'm like, we get that all the time within our community. It's sad to say, but it's true. Okay. So then I finally moved to a different location, and at this time I'm still undergoing the lawsuit with the current hospital job that I had. Not current, but current at that time. Time is pushed by. It's like 2014. And I'm still dealing with the same school district, but my son is being rotated to a different school that fits more his needs. Okay. This didn't lead to the lawsuit yet. Okay. So now let's move forward to like 2015, 16. All of a sudden, I started to notice the color tactics of the all white cars, red cars, white cars, red cars, what, and so I'm thinking the stress that I am going through is getting to me. Cause I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're stressing because you're dealing with this lawsuit. So you need to let it go. So the one against my job, the corporation, I backed out of it. I started paranoid and stressed to the point where I was like, I didn't even work. I quit my job to move with my mom. Cause I was like, this is too much stress for me. My mom's like, you don't never give up. You don't let nobody run you. No, cause now you thinking your mental state is being affected. I start seeing the red cars, white cars, red cars, white cars. Mind you, I'm only like 23 23, 24 at this time. I'm like, red card, right? Okay, right? So then I'm like, okay, I'm really going, I'm paranoid. What's going on? Then all of a sudden, because I wasn't working, I was able to take my kids to school by walking them to school, whatever. So I'm walking my kids to school, and I start seeing just the same man, always just standing outside his car, you guys, just staring at me. And then I start thinking, oh, you're paranoid again. This how they make you feel that it is you. And so I'm on the phone with my friend. I'm like, I don't know, it's me. I'm scared to get out of my car. My heart is beating fast. I'm in fear at this time. I'm like, this man, I see him almost every day, and it seems like he waits for me. Okay, 'cause I said as soon as I go in, it seems like now he gets in his car and he waits till I get in my gate. It was a gated complex, and then he takes off. My friend was like, "What? What kind of mess are you in? What did you do?" Oh hell no! That's what that was their response. And I'm like, I didn't do nothing, because you really seem like I didn't do nothing. So I'm at home, y'all, sitting in the dark on the floor, like, oh my God, like what is going on? So then it amps up. All of a sudden, a person, I guess, 'cause they couldn't get in the gate, they recruited somebody that lives in the complex, but in a different side of where I live. It was this African American man. He starts to do the waiting tactics. And I started to notice like he would try to wait at the school until I get there and then drop his son off. And then if I'm a little like behind him, he will miss the light. I didn't notice this right away. I started noticing like, wow, I always see this man, but I was just thinking like, hey, maybe he's trying to flirt, take it there, right? Then I noticed, no, he got a wife, and the wife is pregnant. Okay, so it's not that. So I start to watch his tactics. He was like always wait around for me and walk behind me, and I would try to get on my phone with my friend, or I would start trying to stay longer at the school, but the longer I stayed, the longer he would wait. And he started following me. And then all of a sudden, his tactics move where he wouldn't follow me, but he will wait by my apartment entrance like he's washing clothes, because we have like laundry mats that fit each lane. He has one on his lane. I have my own laundromat on my lane. So I'm like, why is he washing clothes way over here? So before I even opened the gate, I looked and I saw him in my laundry room. So that put fear in me, because I'm like, oh my God, like this man is harassing me now. Like it's turning to stockish behaviors and I don't even know him. I still don't know I'm a target. So I go to his lane to go see if anybody's washing in his lane, which makes sense to why he walked over to mine, because he like, I need to wash and mine is occupied. Nobody was washing in his lane. So guess what happened, you guys? I called the police this time because I was like, oh no, I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking that this might be aggressive behavior. This man might be just crazy. I call the police. The police come to my complex and I make the report. Okay. And I told them where the man stay. He stays on this lane. I don't know what apartment number is, but if you call the office probably can give you guys an idea who I'm talking about. Okay. Mind you, this is very important. Like I said, I had left my job. I'm living in my mom's apartment. My name is nowhere on this building. No, on the contract, on the lease, nothing. Okay, so the police come. The police calls me by my first and last name. And I tell the police, I said, how do you know my name? Oh, because when you called, we verified where he stayed and the office gave me your name. Mind you, the office gave you my name. I don't live there. They do not have my name. So that's when I start putting stuff. I'm like, okay, this is some Twilight stuff. And I didn't tell the man, the office. I said, well, I don't live here. So how would they office have my name? Because I didn't want that to be reported like you're not supposed to be here anyways. So how are you calling a complaint on another residence? So it just instead of the officer helping me, he comes to me and goes, why do you think this man is harassing you? I said, it's just awkward that I see him every day at the same time. And then he's over here staring at me. And I had a video of him just staring at me as I enter into my apartment. And it's creeping me out. And I showed the officer, and he says, okay, so he's just looking at you. People look at people all the time. People look at me all the time. People even videotape me all the time. And I said, well, sir, because you're an officer, and right now you're classified as a public figure, and there was a lot of police brutality happening. And this officer was black. So